the pop-up on the board is pretty simple and straightforward. Taking off going down the line can be tricky. Taking off straight down the wave can be tricky. Pretty much all sorts of ways, but now that we know where the pad is properly placed on our board, it's going to be a great indicator when you're standing up. You're essentially going to be paddling into a wave, and when you stand up, this is going to give you all the feedback you need to where you need to stand. And making sure you have a ton of front foot pressure, like you're driving into a barrel at pipeline. I don't know if you've ever felt that before, but if you have, that's, you know, one feeling. It's actually going to be more like snowboarding on the slopes, where you're kind of driving that front edge of your snowboard into the snow, and that's what's grabbing. You're not going off your back foot. You know, you're not kind of like scared of going in. The steeper the wave gets, the more you need to lean forward. And so basically popping up, you just make sure that your pad is placed in such a way that when you put your foot down, it's going to be in the perfect spot every time, because you don't even have to think about it. You already thought about it on the beach, and that kicktail is going to prevent you from stepping too far back, which is going to give you too much lift if you do. For your very first ride, you're honestly going to kind of feel like you're standing in a peculiar situation, because it's not like surfing or these other board sports where you kind of hunch over and you try to get as low as you can, and you know, you're just trying to kind of balance on the board, whereas a board that you're traditionally riding on is, you know, in the water. It has the stability of the water because it's wrapping around the rails. With the foil, you're gonna really want to have a a nice squat stance, kind of like if you're in the gym and you're doing, you know, lifts. So nice stiff stance, and then you're gonna keep your chest vertical. Have you ever seen those photos of Duke Kahanamoku surfing back in the day, and he always had his chest out because that was just the style and kind of the similar way of riding those boards without fins? And you're basically gonna do that same thing. And like snowboarding, you're gonna kind of be in this like squat as if you're sitting on an imaginary chair to a certain extent. And then next, with your arms, you don't wanna close your shoulder. You're gonna wanna open it up. And I don't know if you've ever seen footage of Laird Hamilton, but he always does this kind of like bear hug maneuver where his shoulders are open. And the reason why he does that is it kind of gets all the accesses, you know, the front and back, side to side. So with your legs, you're able to have, you know, the front to back, but with my arms, I'm able to have side to side. And that's gonna actually allow you to, you know, have the best balance so you don't fall. And a lot of things when you're catching a wave, the trickiest part is not having the foil sort of like pop up and scare you, because most of the time you get in the air and you don't know what's lifting you, and you know, it's all a bit much to take in. So having this stance, it's not going to want to jackknife you, and that sounds really scary. It's really not. Once you get over this phase, you never have a problem with it. Like, you don't ever do that to yourself. And that is usually caused because if you have too much heel pressure, the foil is going to want to come up in front of you. If you have too much toe pressure, the foil is going to want to come behind you. And that's always due to, because when people are learning, they're hunched over and their weight distribution is a little bit off. Once you understand how to foil and you can do it on your own, it gets so much easier to adapt your own style. And you can actually be hunched over because you already have the understanding and kind of the comfort of how to ride the foil, basically the nuances of it. So really, that is sort of the basic principles of being stable on the foil.